1, 2, 3.
Pop. Scrap. No! I knew this was going to happen because we banged the table after we were done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, no elbows on the table. This is like a... At least it'll be easier to fix this time.
That was funny.
Well, you guys wanted a blooper? There you go. There's your blooper.
There's your blooper.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday, and welcome back to Tachy Talks. Big week for us. Which episode is this? Episode 12? 13?
There's too many things in my brain right now.
It's an episode.
Listen, this is episode...
I think it's episode 12.
I'm gonna go with the...
Anyways, my name is Haley.
I think it's
and these are my two pals. Pals, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Advait Desai.
And I'm Kylie.
And she's Kylie.
And this week we're going to be talking about research in undergrad. So we all have slightly different experiences with research in our undergrad. So we're all going to be talking about our experiences and if research is important to get into med school and, you know, the whole shebang. But before we jump into that, Advait, how was your week? 2 weeks.
My week, it has been 2 weeks. So, yeah, if you're not following us, we are moving to a bi-weekly
schedule. Which you really
schedule.
should be following us on Instagram.
If you're not following us, go follow us.
Go follow us on Instagram, but we are moving to a bi-weekly schedule because, unfortunately, I'm honestly not busy. It's more like these two are busy.
I'm quite busy.
Yeah.
Kylie's quite busy.
I'm very busy.
I could probably record like every day if I wanted to because it's not like I'm doing school.
Maybe in like the bi weeks it could just be like thoughts with Advait.
Just me. I could have recorded myself opening Yu-Gi-Oh packs today.
We could have got
that on.
Dear God.
Like, who wants that?
Yeah, so I guess the thing I did this week, or actually today, was I went out with one of our classmates and we were really bored, so we bought Yu-Gi-Oh packs. Don't question it too much.
I mean, that's kind of fun.
But, like, listen.
How many people there do you think, like, are too young to know what Yu-Gi-Oh is?
No, people know what Yu-Gi-Oh is. Come on. It's like...
No, I don't like that. Because, okay, like, if someone's listening in your first year of undergrad, how old would you be? Like, 6 years younger than me.
First year of undergrad? Oh, they're born, like, 2000 what? 2001,
like,
2002?
No. Yeah, 2002. Oh, my God, I
That's
don't know
crazy.
what a Yu-Gi-Oh card is.
No, they know come on, you gotta know what Yu-Gi-Oh is. You gotta know what Yu-Gi-Oh is.
We'll put a poll up.
Oh my God, no, they'd be 7 years younger. Okay, I'm exposing
Alright, but
myself.
this is what happened.
We're gonna put a poll up, so check out our Instagram if you haven't yet, and vote about whether you know what a Yu-Gi-Oh card is.
Okay. This is what happened though. It is actually pretty hype. We bought 3 packs of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and in one of the packs, we pulled a card that was worth $15. So
on like eBay or
on like. Yeah, like on like online websites, people.
What's the most expensive Yu-Gi-Oh card then? Like, how
there's
much is it worth?
$1,000 cards.
What if you opened up the pack and you had a $1,000 Yu-Gi-Oh card?
Do most of your thoughts revolve around like monetary gain? Just
no,
wondering.
I mean
Exposed.
Maybe. But listen.
For any future employers listening, that is not true.
That's not true.
Yeah. No, but listen. We pulled a $15 card, and then we went back to the store and sold it to the guy for like $13.
What store?
Like, yeah, what kind of store is this?
There's card stores in Windsor that only sell like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards.
So this is what you did
what's
this
the
morning.
store called though? Because there used to be one in the mall.
Oh, it's not in the mall. I know what you're talking about. It's not the mall one. It's called CG Realm, I think.
Oh.
But we went there, we sold the card, and then we bought 3 more packs, and we got nothing. So we wasted all of our money. And
This is like gambling.
It's gambling, yeah. It's like, if you guys ever like play video games, it's like loot boxes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
video
yeah,
games?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the exact same thing as like a loot box, but it's like real life, and you get to hold it and like care for it. And I'm gonna shut up now.
That sounds like a fantastic week.
That was a great
Advait.
week. I just talked about Yu-Gi-Oh for like good solid 2-3 minutes.
I like that.
And like the thing is, I don't even follow it. We just did it like out of a whim.
I used to love the cartoon show.
Yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
yeah.
Watched it all the time.
I used to wish I had his
did not.
hair. His hair.
Yeah, you had cool hair. I remember all the boys playing with Yu-Gi-Oh cards when I was in elementary school, though, and I like thought it was cool. But
It
I
is
like
cool.
Beyblades.
Beyblades
If
are
we're
dope.
gonna
Yeah.
talk about
Sick.
old school trends, or my personal favorite was Neopets.
Neopets.
Okay, what about
Ooh.
Bionics?
Okay,
I
Bionics
didn't really
are.
play with Bionics.
Or like, was it Bionicle?
Bionicles.
Yeah, we called them
Bionicles.
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 Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
had the movie.
And they had the. I didn't watch the movie.
I watched the movie.
No,
we used to have a car, like a van that had a DVD player that folded down from the
buff.
ceiling.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah,
fancy.
wow. Yeah.
It was like probably the size of my phone screen, the DVD player. Very fancy, and because we used to go on big long car rides, vacations, we drove everywhere. And so we'd go to like Florida, we'd drive to Nova Scotia, all sorts of places. And those were the two. We watched the Bionicles movie, and we had every season of SpongeBob on DVD. And we just watched SpongeBob.
I can sing the whole
That's
SpongeBob
just like,
song.
that's making me nostalgic for some reason.
Yeah,
I
like
know.
going into, like our family would rent out vans like that sometimes whenever we're going to like Niagara Falls or something.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. I'd always get a headache though for some reason.
Oh, I
like,
get
motion
so
sickness.
car sick.
Yeah.
You would get
I
super car sick.
No, I would
Yeah.
literally vomit every time we got in the car.
Yeah,
It
like
was like non-negotiable. Like it was just gonna happen, inevitable.
1-2 hours into the movie, even I would like, and I'm pretty good with motion sickness. I don't really get motion sickness, but
I'm
like
really
watching movies in the van, it's fun, but it's not fun.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't expect this podcast to put me in the feels. Now I'm sad.
Aww.
I just feel old.
I wish I was young.
Let's go and buy some
Full of
Beyblades.
youth.
All right, let's do that after.
I'm 100%
Sprite.
down.
All right, we'll talk about that
We'll
later.
talk about that later.
Okay, I'll move on to my week so we can get into the hot topic that everyone's here for, and not about our lives.
I mean, we still haven't done Haley's week. She just like talked about something
okay,
random.
Haley, you tell us because I did nothing that fascinating. You go.
What happened to
No,
you?
we always go Ave, Kylie, Haley. We can't break the pattern.
Why? Do you have something like super spicy that it's like saved best for last?
Oh, I don't have anything spicy. I went apple picking. That's
Aw.
There you
exciting.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, so spicy. Except the thing with apple picking right now, I very much enjoy it. But because it's such a good socially distant activity, everybody goes.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
it just felt so busy, and especially because it was in September and like the apples were good and there was like Honey Crisps, which are so good. I really hate Gala apples. Disgusting.
What do
I
you
find
mean?
Honey Crisps to be like gritty.
Yeah, that's what
I don't like Granny Smith.
Oh, I hate it.
I love Granny Smith.
I hate Granny Smith.
I just like sour things though.
No, yeah, I don't like Granny Smith. No way.
Well, doesn't matter. I went apple picking, and then I caught up on all my schoolwork, which is like I mean, if we want to get like real, this is the first time I've been caught up on schoolwork in all of med school.
Hey,
So,
there you
Literally,
go.
it took a year to catch up. I mean,
You're killing it.
I know, I'm very proud of myself right now. But yeah, and it worked out. But I didn't do anything like super exciting. I wanted to go hiking this week, but then I just feel like I was so busy, and then I didn't get to go hiking. Also, like I was at home, and hiking in flat Toronto is not ideal.
I mean,
Hiking here
What's
is
It's
up
like
with
not
hiking
better.
Windsor,
in
yeah.
Flat Windsor.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like hiking in Flat Windsor.
I mean, I kind of want to go to Point Pelee. Maybe I'll go this weekend.
Point
I wanna-
Please fun,
no,
yeah.
we should go to Boblo.
What's Boblo?
I heard
Bobble
Wheatley's
Island?
nice too.
Oh, Boblo Island. Yeah.
I'm going golfing this weekend. I mean, I would tell you that next week, but I'm playing in a golf tournament this weekend, but I've never golfed.
Oh, you're participating in it?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Did you golf?
No.
Have you ever golfed?
No.
Never.
Nope.
Okay.
My grandma gave me golf lessons once.
How was that?
Bad.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like it's a really good thing to do because, like, in the future, like, everyone, like, professional golfs. Isn't that weird?
What do you mean?
Like,
You mean
having-
like physicians golf a lot? Is that what you're saying?
like, physicians, like, business people, like, all deals are made on the golf field. Golf, is that what it is? Golf?
I think it's a course.
Course.
Yeah.
See?
It's okay.
I'm gonna
We're
fail.
learning.
But, okay.
At least you didn't say court. That would have been really bad.
I think
Golf,
down with
basketball.
The ball
I think that we
court.
should destroy the patriarchy and all deals should be made at like I don't know, like the nail salon.
I was just thinking that. Could you imagine a nice mani-pedi?
But what if you're okay? Like honestly, I'd be
Men
down
can
for.
get
No,
mani-pedis.
I'd be down for a petty.
So it's a good gender neutral activity.
100%.
I mean, golf is also a gender neutral activity, but it does require some level of like skill.
And we're breaking the patriarchy.
We're also trying to break the patriarchy. So.
I think I'm just gonna
We're
challenge.
just kidding.
I think I'm just gonna challenge future like business clients to, like a Yu-Gi-Oh battle.
Why are you gonna
I-
have business clients? You are in medical school.
What do you mean? What does that have to do with
Oh,
anything?
dear.
Are you getting an MBA?
No, but like, listen, if you're a doctor, don't act like your whole life is just gonna be doctoring.
That's my whole life because I have no
I mean, it
interest
could
in
be.
business deals.
It could be, but I feel like I'd also want to like take my money and do something on the side while I'm like busy in the hospital. Do you know what I mean?
Adrian's
No.
gonna roll up to his residency interview and be like, let's play Yu-Gi-Oh! If I win, you let me in.
That's my residency interview. I pull out a deck of cards. I mean, that's how the show works. That's how the show works. If you get caught by the cops or something, you duel your way out. I think that's a better solution to like guns and violence.
Okay, wait, we went from residency interviews to guns and violence with Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Listen.
I was saying, like, you sit down and you're like, all right, I honestly have no idea how Yu-Gi-Oh works. Throw out your Yu-Gi-Oh cards and say, bet, I win, I'm in.
That's how the show works, and I would be completely fine living in that world.
All right.
100%.
I think I'd rather live in the Pokemon world.
No, that's so scary. There's like wild Pokemon everywhere. If that was like real life,
Gotta catch them all. Actually, okay.
if that was real life, okay? Imagine like your mom leaving you when you're 10 years old. That's how old Ash was.
Okay, I
in the
can't
show.
say I know
Did
this
she
much about
leave?
Pokemon.
I thought she died.
No, his mom's alive. Well, no, I think Ash just left home. Ash is
Oh.
like, yo, I'm 10. I'm about to dip. What's up?
Maybe in the Pokemon universe they have longer years, so like he's actually 21, but the
Oh,
same
like
amount of
they're-
time has passed, but it's only been 10 years.
That's true. Maybe.
That's like
I'm
some
just
kind of
saying,
like Reddit
Time
conspiracy.
is a
like,
social
movie.
construct,
Yeah.
so in different societies
That's
there
true.
could be different
we
perceptions.
can make a
of
YouTube
time.
video on this. Is Pokemon World the same as our world?
Okay, if we're gonna talk about universes we want to be in, though, I just want to say I want to be in the Star Wars universe. That's all.
That sounds dangerous.
That's dangerous, yeah.
Yeah, but like it's so exciting.
I want to be in the
You're
Harry
gonna die,
Potter
like, young.
universe.
No, but I'll be
Harry
one
Potter
with the
universe
Force.
is more fun, yeah.
Nah, I want to be in Star Wars.
Have you
like,
seen like the episodes when Harry would visit Ron's mom or like Ron's house and Ron's mom is just like cooking without doing anything or like
Yeah.
the dishes are cleaning without
Hey.
doing anything? I want to be able to do that.
I'm not saying being a wizard sucks. Being a wizard would be so cool.
If you had asked me
You're
this
a wizard.
question at like 14 years old, I would have hands down been like, I want to be in the Twilight universe. Specifically, I want to be Bella Swan.
We
If you're
were literally
14?
talking about this out.
Yeah.
No, Twilight was like the thing. Like I
No,
remember.
I know it was the thing, but
No,
it
but,
was
like, I agree with Haley. Like I
Yeah.
was Team Edward. I'd
Yeah.
want to be Bella. Like
Yeah.
I was ride or die for that book.
I don't know why 14-year-old me wanted to be in a toxic relationship so bad, but
With
like,
a
I just
vampire?
really did. Really,
yeah,
really
that's
did.
super creepy. Like I don't know. Like
I
why is
low-key
he?
wanted to
I
be a
never
vampire.
understood this. Okay.
Have you read the books? He's
I watched the first movie.
He's so toxic. He's like, don't talk to anybody else. Don't do anything. I have to protect you. You
I
can't
watched
do
the first
anything.
movie.
Blah 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 blah.
I know, and then I was like, yeah, that sounds
I was
right.
like,
Now I'm like,
yes,
no, that is
romance,
so exactly.
romance.
Okay, wait, no. I have a question. Why is he like? Isn't he like a few hundred years old or something?
He's like
Yeah.
107.
Why is he
He-
in high school?
Okay,
Because
listen to this.
they
though.
don't age, so he just keeps doing high school over and over again, so that they can. Because if they then they can live in places for long times because they like went to high school. You can't just show up and be like, I'm 30 and I'm never aging. It's kind of reasonable to think that like a person would look similar throughout their 20s.
I mean, it's kind of creepy
He
though.
doesn't
when you,
look like he's in high school at all. He
But,
can
like, if
definitely
you were-
pass for like a.
If I was 300 years old, the last place I'd want to be is a high school.
Yeah, like that's
Like,
so creepy.
I don't.
They're
That is
like,
really creepy.
What are they? 16 in the high school, and you're gonna like? That's just weird. Come
That's
on,
just weird.
come on.
And
That's
why-
100%
I mean,
weird.
what was he supposed to do?
At least go hang out at like a university or something.
Yeah, you go to. That's 100% better.
Okay, but Forks didn't have a university, and they needed to be in Forks because it was rainy. So and they glitter in the sunshine.
Okay, then why? Okay.
No,
go to,
come
like-
on, go to Britain.
Isn't Forks in like Oregon though? So like go to like Seattle.
No, just go to UK. Like, there's no sunshine there. It's
But
always
they,
raining there.
they probably
Oh,
did. They like
sunshine.
rotated through different places.
Nah, I don't.
They just
that's a
happened
big
to be
plot.
in
It's a big plot
Forks.
hole. No.
That is kind of a plot.
It's a huge
No,
plot
because they
hole.
left Forks when the werewolves, and then they came back because the werewolves were all gone.
Okay, can I just say though, if I was like 200 years old, whether or not there was a university in a town, I would not be hanging out at a high school. That is the
Yeah,
last place I want to
That's so
be.
weird.
Okay, well,
So
how about you
boring.
guys just practice your willing suspension of disbelief so that you can enjoy the literature? Okay.
Okay.
It's a work of art.
I think
Culture, baby.
It's been like 10 minutes. We probably talked about nothing that we said we're gonna talk about.
We haven't even talked about my week.
Let's
yet.
talk about your week real quick.
Yeah,
I don't
sorry.
remember what I
Okay,
did.
that's good. All right, so today's
Nice.
episode.
It's on research.
Nah, what was your week?
I went to my parents' house for dinner.
Hey, sounds
That's
like
fun.
fun.
Hung out with my key cat.
Hey,
Again.
like every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else did I do? I honestly don't know. I did like
Did you
I
just study
do
all-
school.
did
I
you
just
just study
study.
the whole
I
time?
study a lot because I'm dumb.
That is true.
She does study a lot. She's
She
very
does
good.
study
She's
a
very
lot,
hard
yeah.
worker.
So
I will give her that.
I studied a lot, and that's it.
You watched Outlander.
Oh yes, I started Outlander,
And I'm
which
very
is a
proud of
TV
her for
show. The person does go back in time, so I did utilize my willing suspension of disbelief. to enjoy the literature.
I mean,
and the
she goes
universe.
through stones. She touches the stones, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm in 200 years in the past."
Listen, that's
Oh my God,
fine.
Jamie's so
I can
spicy.
accept
Sorry.
that. The Twilight thing, I'm still not accept. Like, come on, you're in high school, get out of here.
I mean, the relationship in Outlander is a lot less creepy too. Like, Jamie and Claire are both like adults.
I mean,
Yeah, there
technically,
you go.
she's like 200 years younger than him.
Technically, but like they're both above the age of 16. Actually, above the age of 18.
That's not bad, yeah.
That's a very key component.
Major key. Major
Okay,
key.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, let's just continue on.
I don't even want. It's making me uncomfortable thinking about
Yeah,
that.
we're probably gonna upset some people who are like diehard Twilight fans.
Yeah.
Probably, maybe.
Sorry.
I'm not going to upset them because I'm sitting here defending it. But
So
You
it's
shouldn't
me
be
and
though. You
Advi.
should feel bad about defending it.
I feel bad about a lot of things.
And you should
but
feel
that's not one of
bad
them.
for supporting it if you're a Twilight. Okay, I shouldn't say that. That was really mean. But
I'm
like, you
being a
should.
bully.
You
Let's
should.
move into
Okay, let's talk about an actual
Aye.
topic.
the meat and potatoes.
Like, disclaimer, please.
Oh, yes. So, as per usual, we do not represent the institution that we attend. Our views are strictly our own, and they are not the views of our institution. Everything we say today is based on, like, our own research. Well, not even research. It's based on our own experiences and our classmates' experiences. By no means if what we say means you will or will not get into medical school. So, yeah, take it with a grain of salt. We're just here to
Take it with a grain of
help
salt.
you out. Yep. But, yeah, that's that.
Cool.
Let's go.
Okay, so like I said, this week we're talking about research in undergrad specifically. So there are a couple different avenues you can do research in undergrad, and we've kind of like the three of us have a range. So
We're like actually like on a
That's a scale.
scale, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Advait's on one end, and I'm on the very other end, and then Haley's right in the middle.
Yeah.
Just like how we're sitting.
Just like how we're sitting, yeah.
So the first thing I do want to say though that like applies to everybody is that research will not make or break your medical school application. So if you're in fourth year and you're applying this cycle and you realize that you don't have any research, please don't panic. It does not make or break. It is good if you enjoy it, and it may help you like kind of get a feel for what kind of research you'd be interested in medical school. But if you don't have any, you still are capable of getting into medical school. So please do not panic. That being said, maybe we'll start with Advait, who is a little more research heavy. So why don't you tell us, Advait, about your research experience?
Yeah, Advait,
Yeah.
tell us about yourself.
I mean, I was gonna.
Why are you wearing your mask around your neck like that?
Yeah, that's right. Take that off. That's bad. They told you not to do
Yeah.
that.
Did they?
Yeah, because you're like, just bring your germs from your mouth onto your neck. You're one of those people. Have you ever seen those pictures of like all the different ways people wear masks? Like some around their neck, some
What if
around
I
their
just
ear.
wore my mask?
You can wear your mask. Also, that actually is probably a pretty good thing to bring up. We're all in the same social bubble.
Yeah.
If you're wondering why we're not wearing masks, we are all in the same bubble.
We are all in the same
And our
bubble.
bubble is less than 10 people. Public health.
I should just take off my mask though,
Yeah.
straight up.
Yeah.
All right. So my research, and I started research second year of undergrad, right after first year. And the thing is, the university I went to, University of Windsor, we had a really cool program which allowed us to do paid research starting from the second year. So that's why I did it, because one, it's research, and second, a little bit of money on the side while you're doing the research.
Is it like a program that you apply to, or like
You
do
have to apply to it, yes.
Okay, and like, you have to have your facilitator before you apply, or
No.
or I guess that's like it'd be supervisor.
Actually, it changes every year.
So like, would they assign you, or did you get assigned to one?
No, what they do is they accept you into the program,
Okay.
and then they pretty much tell you like, okay, go find a supervisor. But
Okay.
if you tell supervisors like, hey, I'm in this program, there's a high chance that they'll just take you
Because
on.
there's funding.
Because you're getting funding, and
Yeah.
the supervisor knows they don't have to fund you, right?
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so that's what I did in second year, and I did organic chemistry as my research. Why did I do organic chemistry? Like, I was just in second year. I didn't even take an organic chemistry class yet, but I just kind of did it just because I sat down with the prof. He talked a little bit about his research. He had pharmaceutical applications. The research itself wasn't based on biology at all, though. It was pure synthetic organic chemistry. But it did have pharmacological applications, so that's what interested me. Yeah,
Are you okay?
listen, I was not okay while in fourth year, but like I'm okay now.
He's perfect.
I'm perfect. Absolutely. I'm no. I'm just joking.
Blink twice if you need help.
No, yeah, but I started research second year, and it was super chill in the beginning. they just kind of showed me around, showed me how to do some basic reaction, things like that. But then as the ball kind of got rolling, they gave me my own project and I became more independent. And then I ended up doing research every year since my second year, and I did it every summer as well. So I did research all second year, all third year, all fourth year, and fourth year I also did a thesis. And then I did it in all my summers in undergrad as well. So the big thing with research for me was it helped me kind of find the closest people that I met in undergrad. Like some of my closest friends I met from research. And that's a really big thing. Like research, if you kind of think of it like a club, it's almost the same, where you're with a group of students all kind of doing the same thing for a similar goal, and then you become really close to people. So if you are looking for maybe some like new people to meet or a new group of friends to hang out with, then yeah, like that's not a bad idea to consider doing research.
I like it. Balance.
Yeah, it's not bad. But like the big thing is research will give you that sense of independence.
Mm-hmm.
It will give you teamwork, because most likely like your supervisor's not going to let you be independent from the get-go. You're probably going to be working with like at least an older student in the beginning, at least for a bit.
Well, you're learning the ropes.
You're learning the ropes.
It makes sense.
Yeah. You're going to do problem solving. Absolutely. A lot of problem solving is involved in research, because as everyone knows, nothing goes right in research. So
You're just like listing the canned meds rules and like...
This is why research is really helpful. And I'm on one end of the spectrum. Remember, I did a lot of research. And this is why I think research is really good. Because whether or not you get a publication, you are developing all these attributes and qualities that you can talk about in an interview. I think, at least from people that I know, everyone that has done a lot of research, at least like 1 to 2 full years of research, has talked about research in either their application essays or their interview itself. It always comes up. And that's just because it's just so integrated in terms of your undergrad if you actually do it, and you learn so many things from it. But that being said, you can get these qualities from doing other things as well, which I guess Kylie can kind of talk about and Haley can talk about as well. But for me, research was really important. I had fun doing it. That's a big thing too. If you hate it, don't force yourself to do it, because you will hate yourself. Only do research if you find it fun. If you don't like your supervisor or don't like your project, please talk to them. Communication's key in any relationship. Communication's key.
Conflict, like resolution 2, 101.
Yeah, you have to let them know, like, hey, I'm not satisfied with what I'm doing. I'm not really enjoying it, and then maybe you can come up with a different project or a solution to it. And honestly, don't be afraid to switch supervisors. And I know that kind of sounds bad, but like if you do it super late, it might not be as good. Like if you've been with the same person for 3 years, you might not want to switch, especially if you're in the middle of a project. But early in the beginning, if you feel uncomfortable about something, I feel like your supervisor will be happy that you told them beforehand, before you got into a more deep into your role in their lab. So hopefully I talked about research enough over there, but I do think it gives you a lot of qualities that med school committees are looking for in terms of a med school student.
So did you write about your research in like your Western essays?
Yeah, I wrote, but I think in Western essays there's even like a certain section where it's like, if you did research, please talk about it here.
Okay.
Do you guys remember that?
In the scholar part, it was
In the
like
scholar
if
part.
you did research, you had to include it.
Yeah.
Or talk about it.
And then did you find that you talked about your research a lot in like interviews?
Absolutely. In Ottawa, Ottawa has like an open book thing for their interviews, so they can see your application while they're interviewing you, and they straight up ask me like, hey, I see you did research on this. What like, can you talk about it? Explain it to me like I'm like a 6-year-old student or like a 6-year-old person. Explain your research to me. So that was a big part of that. Western I talked about a lot. They talked about, well, not really going to go specific into the questions, but I talked about like problem solving in my research, teamwork, cooperation, things like that. So I did include it in like my Western essays. I think I included it in my Toronto essays too, when we were like talking more about the ABS.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I talked about it in all the interviews that I did.
Good.
Good for you, Advait.
That's nice.
No, I'm just kidding. No.
But once again, like I'm on one end of the spectrum. Kylie is in med school as well. She's my classmate.
And I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, and we'll get to her, right?
Yeah.
We'll
Do you want to go like middle?
Yeah, we'll
to-
go middle.
So I'm kind of in the middle of the spectrum in that I did some research. So my research journey started the summer after second year. I was a research assistant for one of my friend's research projects. I didn't just get on it because I was his friend. I had to apply to his supervisor. So it was just lucky because the research actually was on like it was like physiology, like athletes and rowing, and I was also on the rowing team, so
Wow, that was
I
coincidence?
was just a good. No, it wasn't a coincidence. It, like I had to apply to a supervisor, but it was good that I was on rowing because she was more likely to take me.
Oh, okay.
I like how rowing just ties in at every
I know.
twist and
It was
turn.
Like
a big part of
everything.
my life.
Everything.
I must say,
Listen.
though, you have a passion, and I'm
Yeah.
envious of that.
I wish I was that passionate about something.
Me too. Like,
Yeah.
I have things that I really like doing, but nothing that like.
Yeah, nothing that like sticks with me forever.
Yeah, like I have big parts of like who have shaped me who I am.
Yeah.
But like I feel like rowing still like
Rowing was a part
influences
of
you.
every single thing that I did in university.
Yeah.
Like from day one. Like
I
I started
mean-
rowing before classes started.
That's pretty impressive.
She loves to row.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
But so the work I was doing there was very minimal. He's a bit of a control freak. I wonder if he's listening. Dayton, I love you. But he's a bit of a control freak, so I just helped like guide participants through kind of the procedure of the research and wrote down some numbers. It was super minimal. It wasn't any like bench work stuff. And then my actual like research would have been my 4th year thesis. So it was a year-long project. I started reaching out to supervisors in January of my 3rd year. I wish I'd reached out a little bit earlier because there were some labs that were already full. So the way that it worked at my school is you had to have a professor take you on for your thesis, and then you could apply to the course. I think that's pretty standard. But I did that, and that was more like bench work. It was a very small lab, so it was me, 2 other undergraduate students, and 1 master's student. It was pretty typical for a lab at Trent, but I believe that at other universities they're quite, like, much larger, right?
Mhm,
like,
yeah.
you'd have, like, a few master's students in there and stuff,
Absolutely.
right?
Mine had
Way
like
bigger, yeah.
mine had like 2-3 postdocs. We had like 3-4 PhD candidates. It was really big, yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that I love Trent with all my heart, obviously, but I think that the research opportunities there were a little bit more limited, but I think that was also kind of a outcome that I ran into because I waited for so late. So I was so afraid of getting rejected from thesis labs that I didn't start emailing until quite late. And I was so afraid that I was like too stupid to work in a lab that I didn't email about research in 2nd or 3rd year, which is a big regret of mine. I wish that I had, like, if you are wondering if you're smart enough for research, the answer is they'll teach you everything you need to know. So just, if that's something you're interested in, go and apply. And my thesis experience was good, but I did hate research by the end of it. I thought that research was the worst thing in the world and that I never wanted to do it again. And of course, now that we're doing it a little bit more in medical school, it's quite different. And the thing I want to say is if you have a bad research experience, don't let that shape your opinion of research as a whole. There's so many different avenues of research and kind of research that you can do.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So why was your research not as fun in undergrad, and why is it better now in med school?
Yeah,
I think I can answer part of this for her.
Yeah, I mean,
But
go
no,
for it.
No, I'm not answering for her. This is the wavelength they're on.
Yeah. You got the connection.
My research in med school is better because Kylie is there.
Ooh.
Oh,
there-
that was a good answer. I like that.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Like I was saying, so I really wanted to do like some medicine or health related research,
Mhm.
which for medical school, you do not like do research in whatever area interests you. It doesn't have to be like you're curing cancer. Like
Yeah.
it can literally be anything. It's impressive just to see research. And if you don't have research, there's a million other impressive things you can put on your application. But I really wanted to do health research. The options at Trent were quite limited. The lab was very small.
Mhm.
We didn't have funding of any sort. I was using expired materials secretly.
Oh, no.
I
Oh,
didn't
dear.
end up with any results. I had to write my thesis about why I didn't get results.
That's always the worst.
It was
yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
and I loved my supervisor. She was great. But that's just what we were working with. And I put myself into that situation by being so set on doing health-related research and choosing the only thing that is kind of sort of related to biology and human health that I could find.
Yeah.
And now that I'm in medical school, not only am I like working on things that actually interest me, I'm also working in like and I haven't done bench work or like wet lab work in school yet, but the research we have been doing, it's just been a much smoother process. I think you're always going to run into bumps with research, and that's something you have to be ready for, and it's something that teaches you a lot. But I think that is the difference for me, is just like the entire environment and the approach to it, and what I'm researching is just much more suited to what I want to do. But yeah, the only other thing that's like research related that I want to mention is that it was not a requirement for me to take stats at any point in my degree, and I didn't take it because I don't know how to add. So I think that's something you have to be able to do in stats. I'm not really sure. And I don't know how to subtract, divide, or multiply either, for the record. It's
well, I mean,
not
if you
just
said
addition.
if you say you don't know how to add, you kind of assume the other stuff.
It's not just addition that trips me up.
For stats, a lot of it's computer programs that do it all for you. So
I just don't understand numbers.
What?
I don't get them.
True.
So I never took stats, and that is a huge regret of mine because I didn't need it in my thesis. My supervisor directed me to a website that ran all the stats for me. How legit was it? Not sure. But take stats. Just do it. I know it's scary, but now that we're doing research, I really wish I had an understanding of stats.
It depends on the type of research you're doing.
That's true.
Because like I did synthetic organic chemistry, we had 0 statistics. It was like synthesizing the compound, seeing how much yield you have. It wasn't like we had no stats at all in ours.
Even though you didn't have stats in your research, though, I feel like taking stats is so important because like whatever profession you go into is going to be using stats in like their like articles.
Yeah.
And like with the profession itself, like our whole responsibility is like keeping up to date on procedures and like statistically, like if one procedure is better than the other, and like I feel like just having like an undergrad stats course is so helpful.
Yeah.
And
so
like
I'm learning it now.
Yeah.
But if you can take it in your degree, please take it, and don't do what I did, and I took probability instead. And you know what? Every time there was a question that said you have a deck of cards, I just skipped it because I could barely remember how many cards are in a deck of cards. So those questions didn't go well for me, so I might as well just have taken stats.
Well, it depends what deck you're talking about. A Yu-Gi-Oh deck has 40 to 60.
Oh dear.
I just had to throw that in
dear.
there. Normal deck has 52. So, depends what we're playing.
It depends.
Depends.
But that was my research experience. So to sum it up, I did a thesis. I had a little bit of like research assistant, quote unquote, work. And I went to all my medical school interviews, and everybody was like, my 18 publications, and I was like, what the heck? And
They
it
all
was
came
fine.
from the UK? Everyone
no,
came
that's
from
just
the UK?
how people talk when they're talking about publications.
I have 18 publications.
18 publications.
As soon as you have one
Governor?
publication, you get a break. Hey, governor.
So
let me ask you something.
yes.
Did you include research in your application to med school?
Yeah, so I didn't put it, I was unclear, and I actually don't think that I put it on my apps because there was some rule about like there's some rule about if it's part of your coursework, it doesn't count as your autobiographical sketch.
Okay, yeah.
So, but I double checked, and I was allowed to write about it for my essays. So for Western's extended and that was the first year the essays ran. So double check, but I think it's fine to write about your thesis experience. And I did write about it in my like problem solving and self-directed learning.
Okay.
Because I did run into the problem of not having any results, and that was a big it was very discouraging.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from it and all sorts of stuff. But I could not put it in my ABS. So on like just my ABS, I didn't have any research, like none. So, and here I am.
Yeah. So you talked about during your interview, obviously,
I talked about it
with
during
like
the
not getting results and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So the thesis still is a valuable experience, even though you can't put it on your ABS because you have other avenues to talk about it, and they do see it in your transcript. I don't know how much they look over transcripts, but like it was in my transcript that I did that. So and at Trent it was it was worth 2 full credits, which means it took up 2 courses in each of my semesters, so I only had to take 3 classes in each of my semesters.
It took 2 courses each semester?
Yeah.
No way. For us, it was just 1 course each semester.
Yeah, ours was like 2.
Ours was technically 2 courses as well because each course was a half credit.
Yeah.
But at Guelph, a research project was 1 credit each semester. So yeah, you only need 3 more.
That's exactly.
No, I took 4 courses plus thesis. 4 courses.
How many hours were you expected to spend on it a week?
My thesis?
Yeah.
It was
expected.
Expected was 20.
Well, we were expected 10 hours a week.
That's interesting. I feel like Windsor is a very research-heavy school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About it.
Okay, maybe our expected like in paper was 10, but like no supervisor would like.
No, they wanted more from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No supervisor would expect like accept you if you did 10 hours. And I definitely did like 30 hours of research a week to 40.
Well, I had to go do mouse dissections every week, so that took I was there all day.
Yeah, actually in my 4th year though, I didn't have other labs, like for other courses, I mean. So, and like my courses would I wouldn't even go, I shouldn't be saying this, I wouldn't even go to them. So I would just be like in the lab, and then a lot of my courses were online too, a few of them, like I took stats in 4th year, which was online, and that was like whatever. And then economics, I didn't even go to class, my friend just, I just had the lecture notes. So
my schedule was actually sick because in first semester I had class on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I had Thursday, Friday off, which I usually spent Thursday in the
2 days
lab.
off, wow.
I can't even remember.
Friday I didn't do anything. And then in second semester I only had class on Monday and Tuesday because I had my internship. So that was I only had to take 2 courses, and then the rest of the week I'd spend in the hospital or in the lab. So it was actually a fun semester because it was very much on my own time, and I was either in the hospital or in the lab, which are 2 nice places to be. So that was sweet. And yes, that is a picture of a medium research person.
Let me quickly say something before we move on to Kylie, just because Haley talked about it a bit, and I feel I should just bring it up before I forget. But in terms of my actual application, I know Haley said she didn't include it in her ABS. She did research. Since I started research in 2nd year and it wasn't really a course, I did include it in my ABS. Plus, I didn't have any publications. So I didn't have any publications in my ABS, but I did include all the conference talks that I did. And I did a lot of conference talks throughout my years of research. I did at least 5, maybe 6 conference talks.
Conferences, I think, are just as impressive as publications.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Even for things I've been hearing about residency, obviously by no means does this mean anything, but just rumors that I've heard is that conferences are looked at just as well as publications.
Yeah.
Really?
That's what I've heard.
Poster presentations at conferences.
Because I love doing conferences because it's 0 effort for I'm not lying. It's not that much effort. You just put some stuff on a PowerPoint slide and you just go up there and talk for 10-15 minutes.
So what they were saying to us, we were at a thing last night, and what they were saying was the point of research is that they want to see completion.
Yeah.
So to them, a publication is completion, but presenting your research at a conference, that's also completion. You followed the project through to an end point. And that is, even if it's not finished yet, because you don't have to be published to present at the conference.
Yeah.
So they do still see that as you following the project through to a point of completion, and that's why it's still a good thing to have.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty big too. I feel in research you don't need a publication. I did a lot of research, I was talking about, and I have 0 publications, unfortunately. Synthetic chemistry is very high risk, high reward. And I was just in the high risk area, not the high reward area. But yeah, no, because it's if you don't synthesize the molecule you're targeting, because we're kind of making something that has never been made before, a molecule. So nobody knows how you're synthetically supposed to make it, and we're trying to come up with the schemes ourselves. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You have to go back to the drawing board and try to find new chemical reactions to get to your end point. And unfortunately, I could never get to that end point for my compound. So it's just kind of there.
It's not so frustrating. I was just planting little fetal mouse metatarsals and watching them grow vasculature.
I had a lot of fun doing what I did though.
That's good.
The process was fun, but not getting results was not fun. But regardless, we'll move on to Kylie next. She was the
okay, I feel we kind of catfished them, making them, because it makes it sound like I did no research.
No, you did some.
I did some. But there's okay, so just as we've been sitting here, I've been reflecting a lot. Actually, I've been reflecting a lot in general lately.
About life? About
life.
school?
I think it's been this whole quarantine thing. I've had a lot of time to think.
Good or bad?
I think it's because the sun just moved into Libra.
Okay, no, but I've been doing this since May.
Okay.
So I don't know. I feel this whole quarantine thing, I've talked to people I haven't talked to in years. There's been so many people that have come out of the woodwork, just old friends who have started to talk to me, and I think everyone's kind of thinking they've just had time to reflect and think about past relationships and past friendships and I don't know.
That's deep.
A lot of reflection going on lately. Yes, this is gonna get a little deep.
Okay. I love it.
Okay, first thing I wanted to address was something that Haley said about being so worried about them rejecting you to their lab, and if I could go back and tell young Kylie something. Sorry, that's going to pick up on the mic. If I could go back and tell young Kylie something, it would be, stop being so afraid. I was so afraid of things, afraid of being told no back in, undergrad that, it stopped me from doing so many things. And yeah, so if I could go back, I would tell myself that. And I feel like even between now and last year, like, there's so much I've learned, and it's so important to reflect. And this is kind of like just like a side note, but like, you should have a journal. I was just telling Haley this the other day. Anyways.
Are you telling me I should have a journal?
No, Haley.
No.
I was talking to Haley about it. I was telling her she should write down things in her
Okay,
journal.
okay.
That people say, like
Like a
I have
diary?
journal.
No, like, you should always,
like-
like, write down experiences
Yeah,
and, like...
experiences.
That you could talk about whenever somebody like asks you about an interview or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's for that, but it's
also
also
just,
for
like-
yourself. Like,
Yeah.
someone said something really, really nice to Haley, and I was like, you should write that down, because one day you're gonna get bad feedback from someone.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. We're all gonna get it. And it'll be so nice, like, when you're having a hard time to remember, like, why you're here. And not that... Not
That's
saying,
good advice. That's really good advice, actually.
Thanks. Not saying that bad feedback isn't important,
Yeah.
but, like, sometimes people don't deliver it, like,
In the best
criticism
way.
in the best
Yeah.
way, and it just comes across as, like, mean as opposed to them trying to help you. Anyways, this is a whole... That could be a whole podcast, is just, like, feedback. It's like ICL.
Feedback. Yo, perfect. Honestly, I think we should.
No, but
that
you're
would be a
so right.
pretty
Like,
good
I
one.
have such a deep, and I still have it, such a deep-seated fear of rejection. Like,
Yeah.
I am so afraid in literally any aspect of my life of being rejected in any way. And it, like, holds me back a lot.
It's hard, and, like, that's something that you, like, have to work through, and it's something that, like, I am still working through, obviously, and Haley as well.
Mhm.
I don't know about you. I don't want to speak for you.
I feel like Abby's just chilling.
Wait,
She's
why
like,
are you guys speaking for each other but not me?
Because I know, like, Haley
do
and I
you
talk
have
about
a
these things.
deep-seated fear of rejection?
Like, we both have talked about it today.
Nah.
Do you?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So, anyways.
I'm sorry.
But, like, literally, I was talking about this today with Katie. Katie's my roommate, who we really want on the podcast, but she doesn't want to go on the podcast.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
If you want Katie on
You-
the podcast, hit like and subscribe.
And then we'll tell her she
You
has
can
to
see
come.
her in the background in some podcasts. So go
Yeah.
back. I'm not gonna tell you which one. Go back,
Back.
and watch all of them.
And she's probably listening. Katie, the fans want you. Anyways, so, like, one thing... So I'll just tell you about my research, then we'll go back to what I was saying. So I did a thesis project in undergrad, but it was not, like, wet lab research. It was a lot of qualitative research, and it was only in the second semester. So it was something that, like, I really finagled myself into. And it showed up because on our ABS, and I think it might still be like this, you couldn't include it as the research category, but because Western allowed you to include it in your scholar section, I was able to write about research
Okay.
still. So I still had some research.
Wait, sorry. So you did it second semester.
Fourth year.
Oh, fourth year. Okay.
But
yeah.
I took a year off.
Yeah. So I think that's important, just in
Yeah.
case somebody isn't like watching all of our episodes and doesn't know.
Exactly. Okay, yeah. So I took a year off between undergrad and university. Or med school.
After fourth year, she took
After
a year
fourth
off.
year.
University and more university, she took a year off.
Yeah.
And I worked at a family health team, in case you haven't caught up. We'll get to there in a second. So yeah, that was pretty much the only research I had, and that was definitely something that, like, I was so worried about, is that we have, like, there's people like Advait who have been doing research since second year, and then there's some people who have absolutely no research, and there's definitely people in our class who don't even have, like, a thesis project.
Yeah.
But to a lot of schools, like, it looked like I had no research. So the thing with my research project, I was really worried about, like, reaching out to people, and, like, I don't know why I was so afraid of cold emailing people, because everybody does it. Like,
Yeah.
it is so common. If you want to just send emails to professors or to, like, doctors, whoever you want to do research with, then, like, most of the time, like, you'll send out a lot of them, but you will get responses back eventually,
Mhm.
in my opinion. And then I applied to so many research assistant jobs in Toronto. And now that I have Katie, who's also from Toronto, she's been, like, telling me a lot, because Katie has a lot of research, and she's been telling me a lot about, like, her experience and how she got research in undergrad. And she applied to so many research assistant jobs, but she had gotten, like, a base research job in second year. And, like, it just kept, like, building and building on it. But for me, it was, like, so discouraging, because I didn't hear back from one job, and I probably applied to, like, 50 of them.
Oh wow.
So if you're in that position, and you keep getting rejected to research assistant jobs, that's not going to stop you from getting into medical school. Like, I'm here, I got in, it worked out totally fine. I did a lot of other things in undergrad that I really, really enjoyed, and just like Haley, I thought I didn't like research. I really enjoyed my project that I worked on, just because I had, like, a really great supervisor. I was working with the postdoc fellow in the lab. He was great. I got along really well with him. But another thing that I always, like, really struggled with in undergrad is, like, pre-meds are competitive, man.
Super competitive, yeah.
Guelph was a little bit better in the sense that most of the people who went there were going for veterinary school.
Really?
Yeah, because that's the only veterinary college in Ontario.
In Guelph?
Yeah,
I know
OBC.
that.
And OBC is a great school. I just didn't want to be a vet. I wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
So we did have a smaller, like, group of pre-meds, but like sometimes it's really easy to get wrapped up in what everyone else is doing and get like really, really stressed out for yourself and like comparing yourself to others. And I get, if you're a med student that's listening to this, it's so easy to do this in med school too.
So easy, yeah.
So
for everything,
easy.
even like anything in life, it's so easy to just compare yourself to other people. Like no matter if you're like just playing soccer for fun, comparing yourself to other people on your team or players on other teams. It's just so easy to compare yourself. And I know people always say you got to stop doing it. Inherently,
like,
you're gonna do
said
it.
than done.
Yeah, inherently you're gonna do it. It's just how much do you let it affect you, right?
Exactly. And I think at the end of the day, what like everyone needs to remember is that obviously we know nothing about the admissions process, but they keep throwing CanMeds at you in every way. Like CanMeds is literally the backbone of the curriculum where we are. And if you can like fulfill and show that you have these like great attributes to become a physician through CanMeds, then I think that is like more than enough. So like I did a lot of things that I really loved in undergrad, and like so Advait made all his friends. No, I don't want to say all his friends.
No, like honestly, my closest friends I met through research. Yeah.
Yeah, and so my closest friends from undergrad, and still to this day, I met through like tour guiding. So I really loved admissions.
That's where I met my closest friends.
Yeah,
rowing.
But yeah, everyone has something they love. So like Haley dedicated a lot of her time to rowing. I spent a lot of time working as a tour guide at school and working with admissions. I was like their Snapchat ambassador. I helped them with their social media.
All right, now you're just flexing.
Yeah, well, you flexed your research for like 10 minutes there.
I know. I'm messing with you.
But yeah, like some of my best friends to this day, like I still talk to them all the time. We're from tour guiding, so there's different ways to get those CanMeds roles. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what the schools are looking for, that you're a communicator, that you're a collaborator, that you're a scholar. And the other thing I talked about for my like research section was that I wrote for like a blog on campus about like biological education at Guelph. And I had to do like my own research for that. Like I had to Google topics and like get resources and sources to cite. But that's not like what you would consider research.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people like think that you need this like wet lab, like dissecting mice, making up his own chemical compounds. You also don't need that. Like there's so much research
There's so
out there.
much, yeah.
Like what Haley and I are doing now has like nothing to do with science almost. Like stats is a science, but
stats is science, yeah.
It has more. I don't know.
Like it's not wet lab. You're not getting physical with anything.
No,
is what
like,
you're trying to say. Yeah.
We're not doing like randomized control trials or that kind of stuff.
You're just analyzing data that's provided to you.
Exactly,
right?
And that's such an important part of research, and like meta-analysis, and like that's actually that. Like, do you remember? I forgot what it's called. That's like the best type of research in terms of
meta-analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had like a bunch that we were talking like different types of research we were talking about before.
Like strobe or great. I don't know. There's a lot of acronyms. And when you get to medicine, there's even more acronyms. Oh my god, everything's an acronym.
Yeah. Everything is an acronym. If they can make an acronym, they will. It doesn't even have to make sense, really.
So, to stop being like preachy, for lack of a better term, you don't need to have the research, in my opinion, as long as you can fulfill and show that you can be a good doctor based on the CanMeds rules in Ontario. What happens in other provinces, I'm not 100% sure. I only applied in Ontario. I don't know if you can speak to Dal. Or
in terms of like what they want for research,
or like do you know if they need research?
If they evaluate a lot more than
it was the
stuff.
Same thing that like I couldn't. So they have an ABS equivalent. I don't think it's called the ABS, but like where you list all your activities. I couldn't list my thesis work because I did get credit for it. I didn't talk about it in my essay. There was only one essay. I mean, there was the Maritime Connection essay, but like for the actual essay about like why you want to be a doctor, I didn't talk about it there. And it was an MMI interview, so I didn't talk about it during my interview. I mean, I didn't get in, but I did get invited for an interview without them really seeing research anywhere on my application because I didn't have those supplementary essays to talk about it. So I wouldn't say that it's like, again, it's not a make or break thing.
I think with research, one thing I want to say is that if you have it, it makes your life a lot easier, and I think it might decrease your stress levels.
I think so too, because I have a lot of friends, and maybe some of you that are listening, who panic because they don't have research. And once again, it's because you're kind of comparing yourself to the people around you. You're seeing all these people applying to med school or thinking of applying to med school that have all this research, have done these talks, this percent of publication, that percent of publication. And so, like Kylie was saying, I feel like if you don't have research, you start to stress a bit. But like, just know that you don't need research to get in. I think research is really valued just because like the things I was talking about before that it kind of provides. Like problem solving, being independent, It just shows that you're dedicated to a certain project, like what Haley was saying, the process of completion. So just by doing research, it shows all these things. So that's why I think it's valued. But
Well,
once
and
again,
looking like way down the line, like past pre-med, research is a necessary required component of many residency programs. So when you are eventually applying for residency, that's why they like to see research, because it's going to be a required part of their program. However, you have 4 years of medical school to do that. So they're not looking at the research you did in undergrad. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
So don't, like, you'll hear that research is important in medical school to get into residency. It doesn't matter if you're researching undergraduate. That, like, residency programs are not looking at your undergraduate transcript and whatever experiences, really. They're looking at what you did in medical school. So just focus on what you need now and worry about what you need for residency later.
Get into med school first.
That's a really good that's a really good point though. So the thing that Haley and I were watching last night, or I guess it was a presentation that we were at, is that they were emphasizing that it's research in medical school that they want, because it shows them that you've balanced medical school with research as opposed to your undergrad with research.
Even they were saying that, like, if you did a master's degree, like, that research, like, they're more worried about what you did in medical school. So worry about that when you're in medical school.
And the other thing I wanted to add, kind of unrelated to what we were saying, is that thesis projects. There's a lot of really good attributes to it, even if you can't put it on your ABS. I think it's a great, like, experience. As Haley was saying, like, it opened up a lot of time in her, like, course. And you also can create, like, really good relationships with researchers or professors, which I don't want to say that everything you do has, like, a means to an end. Yeah. And they are good people to know because they can teach you so much. But, like, my thesis... Yeah, my thesis. Oh my god, my brain's fucking failing.
No, you're doing good.
My thesis supervisor, he ended up writing my reference letter for me. And I worked, you work really closely with them. And you become, like, friends with them. So they're a good person to ask for that. And that's another thing that kind of makes it easier. And I think a lot of people who do research end up using their supervisors.
Like, it's a good way to... You're getting to know somebody, and they're getting to know your academic capabilities, which is something that it can be difficult to get reference letters speaking to that, because when you're in a class of however many undergraduates, like, they don't really know how you're doing specifically. So they see your academic capabilities from you doing that research. So that is, like, a good thing to have.
I like how we all just got the same email. Like,
and I almost just looked down at the computer.
Like, looked at our laptop, like, come on, we're recording. You should know that.
I forgot to mute.
How dare you email us in the middle of a recording session?
But yeah, I think, like, we've pretty much covered everything that has to do with research. Like, again, just to stress, do not panic. Like, there's so many different ways to fulfill those competencies that you'll need for medical school. So many ways to learn about yourself. Research, as Advait was saying, teaches you a lot. But doing other things also teaches you a lot about yourself. So don't stress and freak out. Man, I used to cry about it. Don't cry about it. There's a lot of other ways to get to medical school.
Honestly, well, I got stuck in that really weird place, and I'm sure it's very relatable to many of you, where it was like, I really wanted to do research, but I didn't want to email because they weren't going to let me in anyway, so what was the point of emailing? And then how was I going to get research? And is everybody in undergraduate who's doing research just better than me? And is that how they're doing research? And so then I have no chance anyway, because they're obviously just better students than I am in general.
Breathe.
Like, you know, that's what I'm saying, though.
She's like getting flashbacks.
That's how it feels in your brain. It feels like this endless, like, cycle of, like, I can't get research because I'm stupid, but also I haven't tried because I'm afraid of being rejected, so now I have no research and I don't know what to do because now I'm never going to get into medical school. And I think, honestly, it sounds crazy, but I think that it's probably something that a lot of people out there think.
No, yeah, I agree, I agree.
Just, like, stop, breathe.
Just, shoot your shot. The worst thing they could do, like, the worst thing they could do is say no, and then what? Like, they're not going to write your reference letter.
They don't go, this is my big thing. And this is completely irrational. But my big fear is, like, they're going to go to the professor in the office, but they're going to be like, you're never going to believe who emailed me asking for research. Haley Gurton. The audacity. Like, the audacity.
How dare she?
I can't believe she would even email, and they don't care.
They don't care.
They literally are just like, oh, no, I don't have room in my lab.
That's what I used to think also. I used to think that they were all talking about it, so I would be afraid to email more than one professor in the department because I thought that they would get angry that I asked somebody else. That is not true. Email as many professors in the department as you would like.
I got to a point where it was like, when I was first looking for my research, I emailed like 7 profs at the same time.
Yeah, that's
and
what
like 5 came back to me like, sorry, I'm full. 2 came back to like, sure, I can have you. And I emailed the other one like, sorry, I chose another prof.
Which is like,
it's like
they're used to.
Yeah, they don't care. Like they're not gonna go home and cry about this.
Andrew doesn't want to
Exactly. Like, who am I, right? Like,
Exactly. Who is
who
Advent?
I am Advent Desai.
Wait, who are you?
That was funny.
You don't know who I am? What?
Bye.
Huh?
It's our
Welcome to the
podcast
Haley
now.
and Kylie show.
One other thing that I want to add to you that you actually can't give an opinion on because it doesn't apply to you, but for Haley and I, we both came from schools. Well, Windsor doesn't really have a medical school. Windsor's a special situation.
Yeah, I don't know. Windsor's a special city.
You have everything about Windsor is very unique in my opinion, and I love it for that. But for Haley and I, neither of us had like a medical school attached to our
Campus.
Yeah, I had a vet school.
Yeah.
You had rowing.
You had rowing. Right.
We had like 4 master's programs.
Like
and
it's even
PhD
equivalent
programs.
to anything.
I mean, your school also had rowing. They didn't do very well, but they had it.
Alright,
But-
shots fired.
Your
Yeah.
school doesn't have rowing.
Bam bam.
Anyways, but not the point of what I'm saying here. Basically, like Haley mentioned, she had a hard time finding health research. I ended up doing a lot of my research in public health just because that was the only thing related to humans that wasn't about like cows
Humans.
or horses or.
They do love cows out at Guelph. That's
Oh
what
my
I
god,
heard.
they love cows. They love animals, and it smelled like manure a lot. I love Guelph. Guelph is a great place to go for undergrad, but that's something that's kind of hard. And now that I'm like talking to like my friends who went to Western, Windsor, Queens, there's a lot more opportunities because they have more labs, more medicine related research. But again, Haley and I are both here. So if you're in
guys
that
made it.
situation, yeah, don't stress about it. And again, you can cold email at other schools. I don't know a lot of the rules about volunteer work, so I know that I couldn't end up volunteering in my lab because Guelph had a policy that I had to be paid, but they didn't have funding to bring somebody else on.
You can volunteer in Windsor, so yeah, it depends
on the
school to school, yeah.
And who you're talking to and the professor. So don't be discouraged if one professor says, no, like I can't take you. It's nothing personal. It's not about you. Move on to the next one, and you will find a place if you want to do research.
And so the overall message here, the question is research in undergraduate necessary to get into medical school? And the answer is no. It's much more complex than that, and if you just skip to this part to get the answer, I don't know what to tell you. Listen to the whole thing. We're very funny and interesting and cool, so just listen to it all.
We talked about Yu-Gi-Oh for like 10 minutes.
But the answer is
And
there are so many routes into medical school,
Yeah.
and they are looking more and more. I'm not saying it's a perfect system because by no means is it, but more and more they are looking at the whole applicant. So just be a whole applicant. Be multidimensional. Do
Honestly,
things.
yeah, just if you're not doing research, do something else to keep yourself
Do something
busy.
you enjoy.
Yeah, just do something to keep yourself busy.
Yeah, and this is going to continue through medical school. Like, they tell
Yeah.
us all the time that residency programs want to see you for who you are, not the person who's, like, staying up all night studying, trying to do research, and just be a good student. Like, there's so much to you that's more than just your student.
Yeah.
Like Haley Rose.
No way! What?
I need to stop.
What?
This-
You're
Not
serious?
only did I row, I was the president of the rowing team.
No, you're lying. That's a
I
lie.
feel like no one finds this
No,
funny
that's a
anymore.
lie. No way.
48th annual head of the Trent.
Okay.
Planned it. So we are going to be in the future sometime in the future, doing another episode on research in medical school. We're hopefully going to get a guest on for that who has like a little more
Yeah, because like,
insight.
who are we to talk about that? We're
Yeah.
like, we haven't even applied to
So
residency.
keep an eye out for that. I'm sure it will be a great episode. We also, as we mentioned before, if you didn't see on Instagram, we're moving to bi-weekly, so we won't see you next week, but we will see you the week after that. We are also going to be doing our very best, and I'm saying it out loud to hold us accountable, to put more content not directly related to the podcast out on YouTube. So some like dig in the life of a med student, stuff like that, just like quick little YouTube videos.
Yeah, I've had a few ideas
So-
about that, which we can talk about.
We can
That's
talk
top
about, and
secret
if you
information.
have any ideas
gotta
about
keep
what
on our
you would
toes.
like to see on YouTube, or for a podcast episode, shoot us a DM on Instagram, comment on our YouTube, like and subscribe. You can reach us on any social media.
Any social media.
And I mean, we do this we do it for us, I'm not going to lie. We have a lot of fun. But we
Yeah.
also do it for you. So what do you want to see? Let us know. And we will see you in 2 weeks for the next one.
Thanks for joining us this week.
Goodbye. Have a good week. 2 weeks.
Have a good 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.